Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for today's video. It's a beautiful spring day, another one. We're getting a run of nice days at the moment, so we can't complain about the weather. Today's video, Saggy headliner repairs. Jaguar X350 and X358 particularly. If you own one of these cars, you're probably already familiar with the saggy headliner issue. If you're looking to own one in the future, it's something that you're going to have to factor in. They just seem to be getting to that age now where the headliners are sagging. We do headliner repairs here as part of our business, and we're getting a load of X350s, 358s, so they're just getting to that age. Hopefully this video will help you if you decide to DIY it and have a go at repairing your headliner yourself. So we're going to show you how to get the headliner board out without the need for taking any glass out or anything like that. We can get the board out, quite straightforward task, without damaging it, without bending it in half like you might have seen on some of these other videos, without destroying it. We'll get it out the car, show you how to strip it, retrim it and refit it. Hopefully everything will be in the video that you need. I will be filming some of it one-handed, and I'm not Steven Spielberg at the best of times, so please forgive me if some of the filming's a little bit wayward. If there is anything that you're unsure about, or as I say, if you need any advice, put a comment in the comment section, and if I can help you with it, I will do. So enjoy the video. I'll catch up with you again towards the end, and hopefully everything you need to have a go yourself. See you soon, guys. So let's get some tools together to start with. What you can see on the screen is pretty much all that you're going to need in order to take the headliner board out of the car and to put it back in again once we've retrimmed it. What have we got? A 1/4 inch socket wrench, a 3/8 inch socket wrench, a small brad awl. That's really important, that one. Get yourself a small brad awl with a nice fine point on it. I use that an awful lot, so that's an important tool. Various Torx bits. I haven't made a note of the sizes that we need, I'm sorry, because I just pick them up as I go through the job. So various Torx bits. You'll need a female Torx socket set, crosshead and posi head screwdrivers, a couple of trim removal tools. Get yourself a large flat bladed screwdriver as well, which may come in handy. You might use all of these, you might only use a few of them, but you certainly won't need any more than that to get this headliner board out and then back in again once we've trimmed it. Here we can see the situation that we're trying to rectify. The existing headliner sagging in various places. They usually start to go in the rear corners and then across the top of the back window, in the deep recesses around the grab handles. This one's sagging pretty much everywhere. Now, when you look at it, your first thought is probably, oh, I can probably squirt some glue behind it and re-glue. Don't even bother. You're just going to end up with a mess. The reason it sags is not the glue that's failed. It's the fabric that's degrading. It's a foam back fabric that's used at manufacture, and that foam over the years just disintegrates, turns into dust, a horrible sticky dust, and you get the sagging fabric. Don't try and re-glue that. As I say, you will fail and you'll just end up with a mess. So the only way we can do it is to get this board out, strip that old fabric off, prepare the board, and we'll recover it with fresh fabric. That's the only way to solve the problem. Now, if you can, try and follow a pattern when you're removing the headliner board. Start with the roof console, then move across to the right hand sun visor, right hand grab handle, and then the rear right grab handle. Then I always go to the centre brake light, C-pillar trim, and then I move back to the front of the car to remove the A-pillar trim. Then I just go down the opposing side of the car, removing everything else on the opposing side. That way I know that I've not missed anything and I've removed everything that I need to. So let's get into it. starting with the roof console, just push open the flap to open the glasses holder, and inside, if you have a look, you'll see a small screw that's holding it up into a bracket on the roof. It's a Torx screw. I don't know what size it is. You'll just have to try different ones. I didn't make a note of it, I'm sorry. So we're going to remove that screw. You can see I'm just filming one-handed again, so just removing that screw. I think I dropped it in the process, so try and keep hold of it. Once you've removed that screw, it's literally just a case of pulling down on that roof console. You may want to get your trim tool in behind it. As you can see, as I pull it down there, it just reveals the clips. I think there's about 6 or 7 clips around the perimeter of that roof console. Just give them a good firm tug. Obviously be careful, it's old plastic, but you do need to be firm with it, and if you give it a firm tug downwards, that should release it. We've then got to disconnect the electrics from the roof console. There's 2 connectors. There's a large white multi-plug connector, and then there's a very small connector for the Bluetooth microphone for the phone system. Push in the tabs. It's difficult to see on the camera, but push in the tabs and then just pull the connectors out. Then it's onto the sun visors. So the sun visor bracket, take your bradawl, and you can see the little hole, little recess there. Just poke it in and you can lever out the cover. Over the other side, we've got another cover which covers the bracket on this side. Be very careful with these because they can be really brittle and it can snap the little tabs off. So be very, very careful when you're levering this out. You don't want to break anything. And just see, stick the bradawl in and then perhaps just get your fingernail or just gently tease that out. That's it, and put that to one side out of the way. So we've got just a screw fit in there, and on this side you've a little tab. So if you push the tab forward towards the windscreen, I'm not showing you very well here on the video because as I say, I was trying to film with one hand and do it with the other. So you pull that tab forward towards the front of the car and then pull the whole of the bracket towards the rear window of the car. So push the tab forward, pull the bracket back, and it will release. Then just it will pull down. So I'll show you better here. So push the tab forward, pull the bracket to the rear of the car, and then it pulls down. There you are, it's out. It should come out relatively easily. On the other side of the sun visor, really straightforward. You're just going to unscrew that screw, and then the sun visor will drop down from the roof. Now you have got an electrical connection there for the vanity mirror in the sun visor. You'll have to give that wire a bit of a tug. You might just want to pull the headliner board down away from the roof just to give yourself a little bit of play in it to pull that wire through. And then a standard electrical connector, push the tab in and pull the connector apart, and you've removed your sun visor. Again, I have to apologise if there's little bits missing because, as I say, I'm trying to do it one-handed. Grab handles, these are really straightforward. Just pull it down. You've got 2 little covers there covering the screws. Pull those down, unscrew with your crosshead screwdriver or your posi head screwdriver. I'm not sure which it is just off the top of my head, but unscrew those and the grab handle comes away from the roof. Same process for the rear, exactly the same process for the rear grab handles. The only difference here is you've got electrical connectors in there because they have a little courtesy light in them. So again, follow the same process for the front. Unscrew the screws, the grab handle will drop down, and as we've already covered, your electrical connectors on these are usually just a little push tab, and then you can pull the electrical connectors apart. As I say, if you are struggling or you're not sure, please put any questions in the comment section if you are struggling with anything. And as I say, I can perhaps give you a little bit more written detail in there. But I'm sure you'll find your way around it. This is probably the easiest part, the high level brake light in the middle at the back there. Very similar to the front roof console, just pull it down towards the floor of the car and it just locates on clips. It should just drop down. Don't be frightened of giving it a firm tug. You've got a locating pin in the middle, and you've got 2 spring clips on the side there, and it will just drop down. You've got another electrical connection, obviously, for the lamp. Push the tab, pull the connector apart, and that's your high level brake light out. So going down the other side of the car, as we said, let's just follow the same process. The only difference here, you've got the occupancy position sensors for the airbags. So you've got one on the passenger side in the middle, and you've got one in the center of the roof. I'll cover those in a bit more detail later on. But yes, pretty much everything's out there now. So just work your way around the headliner board. Make sure you've got everything removed from the headliner board that you need to remove. And then the next part of the process is the C pillar trims, which need to be removed, and the A pillar trims. Now the C pillars, get into those next. Oh no, I'm doing the A pillars first, am I? Yeah, it looks like I am. Yeah, it looks like I'm doing the A pillars first. So really easy to get these off. Pull the door trim, so your weather seal, pull it down from the roof to start removing that from the door aperture. Now, when you pull these and you pull them down, use the harder fabric side with the flock material. Grab them there and pull them down. Don't pull them on the outer side where you've got the rubber, because you can tear the rubber. So use the flocked, you know, the heavier rubber side, and pull them from there. Then get your trim tool, just pop it behind your A pillar trim, and you've got 3 or 4 clips behind there. Just feel for those, lever the clips, and it will just pop off. As it pops off, we'll have a look behind it and you'll see better how that attaches. Now what you have got on these is you've got a little black strap, plastic strap, you can see it there, and that's there in order to stop that trim piece flying around the car should the airbags deploy. Now I've seen these cut and butchered. Just remove them properly and make sure you put them back on again when we're refitting everything. You can probably pull it off by hand. If not, just lever it with a screwdriver and that will come free. On the passenger side, you've got another airbag sensor. Again, push the tab, pull the electrical connector clear, and you can remove that A pillar trim. The other side is exactly the same. It's just a little bit easier on that side as you haven't got the airbag sensor. So it's exactly the same process. C pillar trim follows the same process. Grab that door seal, but grab it from the inside edge on the fabric, the flock fabric part. Pull it down as I'm doing there on the video. Don't pull it using the outer rubber. You will tear that rubber. Once you've done that, again, get your trim tool behind your C pillar trim. Just lever it away from the car and it will just pop off. Exactly the same as the front ones, really. You've got this black strap again there to stop the trim piece flying about should the airbags go off. So as I say, remove that properly. Don't cut it with scissors or a blade like I've seen some people do. Remove it properly, and then you can obviously reattach it when we're putting everything back together. As you can see on the video there, there's a little one of the yellow clips there, so there's just 2 or 3 clips on the back of those. When I take them off, put them on the back seat like I'm showing you on the video here, but put them fabric side to leather, because if you're in and out of the car, the prongs on the back, the locating prongs, you don't want to damage your leather, so put them fabric side down. So having a look around the cabin now, we've got pretty much everything removed there. So the roof console, some visors, grab handles, A and C pillar trims, high level brake lights, all removed, and we can see that the headliner board is actually moving around now. It's pretty free, so it's just really being held up by the door seals. So we're pretty much getting to a point now where we're ready to remove it. And if we haven't missed anything, at this point on our bench we should have 2 sun visors, 2 fixing screws and covers, a high level brake light, our centre roof console, we've got the A-pillar trim pieces, we should have 4 grab handles, 2 rear and 2 front, plus the associated fixing screws. Make sure you haven't lost the little coat hooks because they can drop off quite easily, so watch you don't lose those. And we should have the brackets for the sun visor and the covers, so make sure you've got everything together, and then we can move on to the next part of the process. We know we haven't missed anything then. So the next part is removing the passenger seat. We need to get the passenger seat out in order to give us a little bit more room in the cabin in order to maneuver that headliner board and get it out of the car through the rear door. So first things first with this, move your seat as far forward as it will go, and then you've got a little plastic cover there which covers the seatbelt fixing point. Again, you can probably lever it out by hand, or if you want to use a trim tool, just gently pull it away from the seat and it'll just pop off on the clips there. Again, be careful, bear in mind it's older plastic, so it can be brittle, so if you've not done it before, be a little bit more gentle with it, and then you're not breaking any of the clips. Then you'll need a Torx bit. Again, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what size it is, so you'll have to bit of trial and error. But select the correct Torx bit for the seatbelt retaining bolt. Loosen that. Again, we've got a bit of one-handed filming and one-handed spannering, so I'm sorry. But just remove that and pop that to one side. And then move your seat all the way back again, and that will reveal the front fixing bolts for the seat. So move the seat all the way back, and you will see, if I can show you, the front fixing bolts. So they are Torx bolts, but you will need the female Torx socket for these. Again, I'm not sure, I think they're an E12 female Torx socket that you'll need. Remove those like so. And the one on this side. So remove those. And then once we've done that, we're going to move the seat all the way forward again to reveal the bolts that are fixing the rearward part of the seat, the rearmost part of the seat. So if I move the seat all the way forward, you'll see we've got similar bolts at the back. They're a little bit smaller. They're again, that you will need your female socket, but a smaller size. Remove those like so. So there's 4 at the rear. So remove those. And then we're going to tip the seat back. So if you tip the seat backwards now, once you've got all your bolts out, and that will reveal the electrics under the seat. We're going to have to disconnect those. Now on this car, they're not all the same. You might have 3, 4, 5 connectors to remove. There's 4 on this one. So we remove all those electrical connectors, make sure the wiring loom's clear of the seat, and then we can lift the seat out. So that's with the connectors removed. Again, they're the same as most of the electrical connectors on this car. Push a tab or pull a tab. You'll have to work it out yourself as you're doing it, and remove the electrical connectors. And then we can lift the seat clear. It's heavy. Lift it as high as you can, and then you're not going to scratch the door aperture with the seat frame as you're pulling it out. Get someone to help you if you've got somebody. I haven't, so I have to sort of try and muscle it myself. But it is quite heavy, the seat, so get somebody to help you if you can. Then the only thing really that's holding the headliner board in the car now is the door weather seals. So if we pull those off, pull your door weather seals off, we want to take this one on the near side, or the left hand side, passenger side should I say, depends whether it's right hand drive or left hand drive, doesn't it? But I take the headliner board out of the passenger side, so remove the rear passenger side door seal completely, It's the only one you have to remove completely. The rest of them we can just pull down so that they're clear of the headliner board. As I say, don't pull them using that rubber, that outer rubber, you will tear them. So that's pulled away there. And once those door seals are pulled away from the headliner board, your headliner board is now free. The only thing holding it up now is a wiring loom that's glued to the headliner board itself, so we need to remove that. So you can see it there. It runs down both sides of the headliner board into your airbag occupancy position sensor there. We've also got the one in the middle that we talked about earlier. It then runs across the top of the headliner board along the other side. You'll see this when you get into it, you'll see it better yourself. It's difficult for me to show on camera, but you'll see everywhere on the board where it's attached. It also runs around the aperture where your roof console and glasses holder goes, so it also runs around there. Now to remove this, it is literally just a case of pulling it. There's a sound deadening pad, which I'm showing you here, that you need to pull back in order to get access to all of that wiring loom. And the wiring loom is just hot glued onto the headliner board, so it is just a case of pulling it. Sometimes you get lucky and it comes off easily. Sometimes you really need to give it a real pull. Obviously disconnect those connectors from the airbag sensors. Be careful with those because they can be really brittle, really fragile. So be careful when you're disconnecting the occupancy sensors for the airbags. Once you've got that loom off, your headliner board is ready to come out of the car. As you can see here on the video, it's dropped down from the roof, the wiring loom's loose, and you can now start feeding that headliner board out of the passenger side rear door. Just take it in stages. So start with the rearmost corner out of the door aperture and then pull it out in stages. So a few inches at a time. Keep checking that it's not snagging on anything. Keep walking around to the other side, have a look, see where it needs to move, and you should get it out without any problems. If you're having to bend it and twist it, just have a break and have a look. You'll get it out of that rear door, no problem. And there it is, out of the car and ready to go on the bench, and we can start stripping it, ready to retrim. So here's our headliner board. We've got it on the bench now, out of the car and on the bench, and you can see there's no damage to it. It's not bent, twisted, torn. So we've got it out. I said we would, no problem. It's perfectly serviceable. We've got the airbag occupancy sensors to take off. There's the one in the middle there also. We've got some little retaining clips for the sun visor brackets, which also need to come off, and the microphone for the Bluetooth phone, that also needs to come off. But as you can see, the board itself, it's not damaged in any way. The marks that you can see there are just from where the wiring loom was. So to remove the occupancy sensors, take your brad awl, just push down on the little tabs, like so. And that will remove that little plastic cage. Pull your wire through the cage, show you better on this side. So push down on the tab, like so. Again, be careful with these because they can be brittle, they can break, so be careful. On this side, and it's the little plastic cage that holds it into position. So we remove that from the wiring, or one-handed again. And once you've removed that, the sensor itself will just drop through the hole. Be careful with these, because if you damage them, you're going to end up with airbag lights on your dashboard when we put everything back together. So there are the two sensors. We've removed those. And the next thing is to remove the little tabs that retain the sun visor brackets. Really straightforward. Just pinch the little tabs together there that you can see they kind of push through the headliner board from the back. So push the tabs in and the little plastic piece will just drop out. Same on the other side. So they're both removed now, so we can go and put those with our other parts, make sure we keep everything together and nothing gets lost. Now the little Bluetooth phone speaker, over-engineered in my opinion in terms of the way it's attached to the board. It's actually riveted on. So the way we remove this, we have to drill those two little rivets out that you can see. So a nice sharp drill bit, just on a slow speed, and we'll drill those out. So again, be careful with this because you don't want to chew up your wiring or get it wrapped around your drill bit. So take your time and just slowly drill those rivets out. So that's the first one. And the same with the second rivet. And there's a metal backing plate there. Now we're going to actually discard that metal plate. There's one on the fabric side and one on the what we'll call the headliner side. We're going to discard those, and I'll show you how we're going to reattach that microphone later on in the video. But the little metal plates, I don't reuse those, but I'll show you, as I say, later on how I reattach that. So we've got the board free of all the hardware now, and we're ready to peel away that old fabric. So as you can see, just gently, it will just literally almost drop off as you start to peel it. It'll peel off very easily, and you can see underneath the foam that's disintegrating and just turning to a dust. That's what's caused us all the problems in the first place. So let's discard that old fabric. As you can see, I'm just showing you there how easily that foam is just dropping to pieces and brushing away. So we need to remove that fabric, throw it in the bin. And once we've done that, we then need to clean all the old foam and get rid of all that old orange horrible foam off that headliner board. Get it back to a bare headliner board, and then we can start retrimming it. Simple tools will do the job. I've got a selection of wire brushes there. I also like to use the red and black brush that you can see there, which I put in a drill. You'll probably find your own tool that works best for you. Be careful if you're using the rotary brush in the drill. You might be better if you've not done it before. Start just using the hand brush. It will bring it off. We'll bring that foam off. As you can see, I'm showing you there. Just give it a gentle brush and you can see it coming away from the headliner board. Again, some boards are easier than others. There's no real way of knowing. You might get yours out and it might just brush away very, very easily. Other boards are a little bit more difficult, but it's just time and perseverance here just to get all that horrible foam off and get your board to a bare state, which you see in here. Now, it might not look like it in the video, but all that old foam has gone now, and we're just left with a bare headliner board. And this is what you must get to this stage. Don't cut any corners here. Even if you need to clean that board 3 or 4, go over it 3 or 4 times. Make sure that all that old foam has gone. Once we've got it gone, we can put our new fabric into position. Try and use a 4-way stretch fabric if you can. You'll find it much easier if you use a 4-way stretch fabric to get into all the deep recesses. You'll find it a lot easier to work with, a lot more workable. As I say, especially in the deep contours and the deep recesses. If you only get a 2-way stretch fabric, you'll find it a lot more difficult. You might struggle with it a little bit more. So I've cut my fabric to size here. I try and overlap the edges of the headliner board by about 5 centimeters each side. Okay, so you'll need to do that. Overlap it, And then once I've got it in position, as you can see here, I use some little spring clamps just to clamp it into position on one end, usually on the frontmost end, so the forwardmost part of the headliner board. Then I put a cardboard roll in and pull the headliner fabric back, so that's the back side of the fabric that's showing, and we're ready to glue it now. Now I use a high temperature spray adhesive, a spray contact adhesive. You must get high temperature stuff, okay, because the temperatures in the cabin, particularly in the summer, get very, very hot. If you use just a standard contact adhesive, your repair will fail. So use a high temperature contact adhesive and a good mask. You must use a good mask when you're spraying this because it's really toxic. So in the clip here, you can see I'm starting to I've gone around the outside edges already there in this clip, and now I'm spraying the contact adhesive on like you would do with any spray adhesive, 6 inches away from the surface. Get good coverage. I start going horizontal and then I go vertical, ensuring I've got really good coverage. And the way I do this, I tend to do it in halves. I'll do the rearward most part of the board and we'll glue the fabric down on that side, and then so you can see I've covered the rearward most part of the board there in glue, and then we do the same on the fabric. So you're gluing your board and you're gluing your fabric, so you want glue on your board and glue on your fabric, okay? Get really good coverage on both surfaces. Once you've got that coverage, let the glue dry. It's really important that you let that adhesive go dry. Run your fingers across it. If there's any sign of any dampness or any moisture on your finger, leave that glue, leave it longer, because you want it dry. If you lay that fabric on and the glue's not dry, if you get any creases or folds in that fabric, you're going to be doing the job again. So let that glue dry, and then when you do lay your fabric on, if you make a mistake, you have a chance, only lay your fabric on very lightly, you have a chance of pulling it back and having another go. But if there's any moisture in that glue, you won't get that chance. So we're laying the fabric on now, and when you start to stick it together, go from the inside of the board out. So just press it so lightly with your hand. It's literally contacting, just contact. And then go from the inside out, just work your way out in ever increasing circles on the fabric until you're working your way towards the edges of the headliner board. Now try and keep the edges free at the moment, like I'm showing you in the video here. Keep those edges from sticking down until you're ready to stick them down. So you're working from the inside out. I'm showing you again there. Keep those edges free. Don't let them glue down until you're ready to. So working your way from the inside out into the recesses. Take your time. And we've glued the rearwardmost part of the board there, as you can see. We've got the deep recesses glued. Take your time with this, and as I say, if you need any advice, ask me in the comments and I'll help you. Now we'll move on to the front. Plenty of glue coverage on the board, plenty of glue coverage on the fabric. Let it dry, and then work from the inside out. Work the material into all those deep recesses, into all those contours. Take your time, and hopefully you'll get a really nice finish. Now at this point I've seemingly forgotten to record, or I've deleted the file, but with a little section missing here, so apologies. Turn your headliner board over and apply contact adhesive to the outside edge all the way around the board. Also apply that contact adhesive to the outside edges of the holes for the roof console, the grab handles, the sun visors and the airbag sensors, and obviously the associated fabric. So as you can see, we've got excess material. Where the material's wrinkled up and crinkled up there, we need to make some cuts in order to eradicate some of that excess material. So taking your scissors, just put plenty of cuts along the excess section. So where your material's crinkled up, don't be frightened of putting plenty of cuts in there. Keep your cuts just short of the headliner board itself. Don't go right the way up to the edge of the board. Keep the cuts just short. You can see I'm doing on the video there. Again, just to reiterate, when we've applied the adhesive to the edges and to the material, let that dry before you start to work the material. So we're just folding the material over there where we've made the cuts. Just work your way along, folding it over. You don't need to pull it too tight, just fold it over. Just takes out any excess material, just tightens everything up on the edge there, and then as you see, it gives us a nice professional looking finish on the edge there. So what we're going to do effectively is that same process all the way around the outside edge. So we've applied our adhesive to the edge of the board and to the material. On the corners, as you can see, put plenty of cuts, not so critical on the straighter sections, but wherever you've got any corners, put some cuts in. Just helps to take away some of that excess material, and then you're not going to get wrinkles and crinkles on the corners. As you can see, I've applied adhesive to the outer edges of all the holes there for the grab handles and the ABS sensors, etc. And on the material, you can see I've just made some cuts with a razor blade. So cutting it with a blade, make sure your blade's nice and sharp and it'll cut through the material nice and easily. And then folding the material back on itself, so sticking it back to the back of the headliner board, and you'll end up with some nice finishing around the holes. And when you're done, you should end up with a headliner board that looks something like this. So again, take your time with it, be methodical, and you should be able to get a really nice finish. So the next stage, put the retainer clips in for the sun visor brackets. They just push in from behind. So refitting is the reversal of removal, as the old phrase used to be. See on the video there, just clip back into place. And then moving on to the airbag sensors. Now, as we said earlier, be careful with these, they can be fragile. So be very careful. You'll see on the back of this sensor, there's a little tab which correlates to a slot in the headliner board. So make sure you get them in the right way. Just take your time to have a look and see how they fit. Once you've got it through the hole, obviously put your little plastic cage back over the wiring, and it will just, the little plastic cage will just clip to the sensor, and it pulls it in and holds it in. Again, just be gentle with them as they can be brittle. And the final piece to reattach before we pop the headliner back into the car is the microphone for the phone system. Now what I do here, shine a nice bright LED torch behind the hole, and it just lights up a little template for you so you can see where to put your blade and cut. And then I use the brad awl just to poke through the fabric to create the holes where we're going to put the screws to attach our microphone. So I just use little tiny self-tapper screws and these little trim clips. Pop the screws through the little plastic backing plate for the microphone. Make sure you've fed the wire through first at this point. And then just clip your microphone to the backing plate. As you can see on the video there, that's where the screws are attached to the little folded metal clips. I just think this is a better system. Should we ever need to take that microphone off in the future, we can just unscrew that rather than having to drill out the rivets as we did earlier. So I think it's a good solution to refitting the microphone. So there we have our headliner board, ready to go back into the car now. Everything attached at this point that needs to be before we pop it back into the car. So again, that overused phrase, refitting is the reversal of removal. So let's get it back into the car. Exactly a reverse of the removal process at this point. Feed that board in gently, little by little. Keep checking that you're not snagging on anything or nothing's getting bent or caught up on anything. Go around to the other side of the car, pull it from the other side. As I say, just keep checking. And you should be able to, if you take your time and just move methodically with it, you'll get that board in no problem. Now granted, this is a long wheelbase car that we're working on, but be assured, short wheelbase, it's the same process. You'll get that board out and into the car with no problems if you take your time. And as I say, just have a little bit of patience, apply a little bit of common sense, and you'll get it out and in the car with no problem, I'm sure. And once you've got the board in, don't forget at this stage to reconnect the wiring loom for the airbag sensors. Don't get the whole job done and suddenly realise I've not reconnected the wiring, because you will just kick yourself. So airbag sensors, reconnect the wiring at this point. Now at this stage, I try and offer the headliner board up to the roof and start to get it lined up. Now it is difficult to do this on your own. I usually use the door seals just to hold it up into position. Get it somewhere that I'm happy with it. Make sure you're getting your wiring loom through all the holes that you need to get it through. So i.e. for the grab handles at the back and the sun visors at the front. Make sure you get that wiring loom through and then you don't forget it. And make sure all your holes are lined up where they need to be. It's critical that you get that board lined up now as best you can, because it makes refitting everything far easier. So take your time at this point. As you can see on the video, all the holes are pretty much lined up perfectly with where they need to be at this point. So take your time now to do this and it'll make the rest of the process far easier. So get it all lined up at this point. So once you're happy with that, the next stage is refitting all the hardware, roof console, grab handles, etc. I always start with the roof console. Reconnect the wiring as you've seen in the video there, and then you've got 4 prongs on a fixing that's attached to the roof. Now they're the electrical connectors for the roof console, and it's critical. As you can see on the video there's 4 female connectors on the roof console, and the male connectors are on a little plastic piece that's attached to the roof. You must line those up, otherwise your interior lights aren't going to work properly. So again, take your time to line those connectors up. Don't bend them or miss the holes, because your roof console won't work as it should. I've got it offered up there, and when I get it into position, I just check the functionality of the lights and everything at this point. Roof console back into position. I haven't shown it brilliantly on the film, I have to admit, because it's a little bit difficult to do it whilst filming. So you're seeing it in position there, but as I say, the refitting's the reversal of taking it off. So take your time and you'll get it back up. I then move on to the brackets for the sun visors. They are literally just pushed back in. If you're having to use any excess force to push them in, the chances are your headliner board's not lined up properly. So they should go in easily, and then the covers should just clip over. It should be really easy to pop them in. If you're struggling, have a look at the alignment of your roof liner board at this point, and as I say, if you're not happy with it, just take the time to just readjust it and get all those holes into the correct position. The sun visor itself, reconnect the wiring, which you'll have to push back up into the roof area in order to make room for the sun visor bracket. Screw the bracket back up and put the screw cover on. Be careful with the screw cover, they are brittle and they are sided, so make sure you're using the correct side. Again, it should all go back together relatively easily if you've got the alignment right at this point. Grab handles next, so again, really straightforward. As long as you've got everything aligned, just offer them back up into position, screw up the screws and just pop the covers back on. And that's your grab handles done. The rear ones are a little bit more difficult because you've got your wiring loom. So as I say, reconnect your connectors, just feed the wiring back in, make sure it's not caught or catching or rubbing on anything, and then pop the screws in, pop the covers back up, and that's your grab handles done. C-pillar trims, again, not wanting to repeat myself, refitting's the reversal of the removal. You've a couple of little tabs on the bottom of the C-pillar trim that fit into two holes on the back shelf, on the back parcel shelf. So slot those tabs into the holes first, and that should help line everything up. And it's just a case of finding the clips and the holes for the clips. Make sure you pop your black plastic retaining strap back on, and then just push all that back together. Again, if you're struggling, just look at the alignment. It'll be something simple. It should all go back together relatively easily. And then once you've got the C-pillar trim on, we can take the opportunity there to reattach the door trim, the door seal, the weather seal permanently. So pop that back on, push it all back into place. Again, if you've got it lined up, it should all go on relatively easily. Just make sure you've got all the headliner board itself tucked behind it where it needs to be. It'll all be self-evident really as you're putting it back together. So at this point, everything's looking good. It seems we've got everything lined up. We'll put the A-pillar trim on, which again, as we said earlier, exactly the same process as your C-pillar trim. On your dashboard end, you've got two little metal tabs there, which the A-pillar trim just slides into. It slots into at the bottom. So slot it in at the bottom, like so. And then I've got a little yellow trim clip that's still stuck into the bodywork of the car, so I'll have to remove that. So I'm just removing that there with my trim removal tool, and then I'll slot that back into the A-pillar trim. And as I say, it's just a case of getting the holes lined up with your trim clips, the holes on the body lined up with your trim clips. Don't forget your little plastic retainer. Reattach that, just slots into a little slot there. And once you've got that in, as it's shown on the video there, just line up those trim clips with the holes and push everything back. You might just need to wiggle it around a bit, but it should all line up relatively easy, and just push it home, it'll clip in, and there you are. And then once you've got it clipped in, obviously reattach the door weather seal. Just make sure it all sits in position as it should do. And we're on the home stretch now. So there you are, there's the door seal, weather seal back in. And then it's centre brake light, high level brake light. Really straightforward, this one, as we know from when we removed it. So it's reattached the wiring, and then you've got the centre plastic locating pin, and that just locates in that middle hole at the top of the rear windscreen. Make sure you've got it the right way around. As I say, find the locator and just push it back up, and the clips will hold it in. So we'll go down the other side of the headliner board now, following the same process. And the headliner board is back in. Passenger seat next. So lift it back into the car, get it into position, make sure you're happy that it's in position. Again, all your holes should line up where they need to. Don't forget to reattach your wiring at this point. Again, don't get it all bolted back in and realise you've forgotten the wiring. So reconnect all your wiring and then bolt your passenger seat back in. Make sure it's all nice and tight. And then easy to overlook is the seat belt. So critical that you get that bolted back in. I tend to fasten the seat belt into the buckle at this point. It just helps hold it into position while I tighten everything back up. So just make sure you get everything tightened up. Pop the plastic cover back on, and then I just check the operation of the seat belt. Just check it pulls out and recoils as it should do, and obviously check it in the buckle, make sure it locks as it's supposed to. And then push your seat all the way back, and then we can get our retaining bolts in at the front. So make sure you get those in nice and tight. Don't cross any threads, strip any threads. Once you've got all those in, we're pretty much done. So all that remains now is a final check. Fire up the engine, check we've not got any warning lights on the dashboard, particularly airbag warning lights. We haven't in this case, so it looks as if everything's as it should be. Check the functionality of your interior lights on the roof console, the sun visors, also the courtesy lights and the map reading lights on the grab handles at the back. And if everything's working as it should be, you're pretty much done. So there we have it, guys. Headliner repair on a Jaguar X350, X358. Hopefully from the video you've got all the information and the knowledge now that you need to have a go at doing that yourself. It's not beyond the realms of doing. Take your time, just have a think about it as you're going along, be methodical with it. If there is things you're unsure about or you've found difficult to follow, as I said earlier, just put a comment in the comment section, and if I can help you with anything, I will do. If you do decide you're going to have a go yourself, if you need materials, adhesives, contact us, we can help you out with that. If you've watched it and thought, I cannot be bothered with all that, dragging the headliner board out myself, etc, etc, just contact us here at Studio Cars of Preston. We offer headliner repair services on all makes and models, Jaguar, Audi, BMW, Porsche, Astons, Minis, you name it, we'll do it. Classic, modern, old, new, car, truck, whatever it is. If it's saggy headliners, or you want to perhaps change the fabric for something different, or you know, do something a little bit away from the norm, just contact us and I'm sure we can help you. Thank you again for watching. If you have found the video informative and helpful, perhaps click the like and subscribe. I'm hoping to do more of these how-to videos. Hopefully they'll be able to help people out, you know, those people that want to perhaps save a bit of money and do it themselves. So hopefully I'll be able to do more of these in the future. But as I say, if you have enjoyed it, please click like, subscribe to the channel, because it really helps. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.